Hi, this is Carrie with a quick screen tutorial on things to think about for creating your special interest project proposal. This is your weekly prep and it is worth 10 points, but it's worth a lot more to you because in this document you'll be creating some guidance for yourself for one of the big projects for this class. The first step you want to do is take a look at the course syllabus and look at the description of this project. Basically, the special interest project is something that you want to learn more about that relates to integrating health, movement, or the arts into elementary education. On the syllabus, I ask you some questions like, is there an instructional approach or a lesson you'd like to try out? Is there a health, movement, or art topic you'd like to learn more about? Is there a health, movement, or art community resource you'd like to explore? So think about something you're really interested in. Maybe you're interested in nutrition. So maybe you would like to create a unit on a particular aspect of nutrition. Or maybe you'd like to explore a community resource like Otterbine's Public Garden or the Central Ohio Food Bank or Local Matters. Those would be community resources that would help you think about how we supplement nutrition in school students' lives in Ohio. So if you're working with a partner, I would suggest sitting down and brainstorming some topics. What are some things you would be interested in learning more about? And once you have a topic in mind, you might also, if you're having a hard time finding a topic, at the end of the syllabus, there is a small list of some special interest topic ideas. And these are just some ideas. And when you look at the list, you might think about, what's the work going to entail? So maybe if you decided you wanted to learn more about gross motor movement for preschoolers, because kids have to learn how to move their bodies. And in preschool, we do a lot of that. We also do fine motor development, like pinch or grasp development in preschool. And my suggestion is, learn about that by interviewing a preschool occupational therapist. Well, you might say, I don't know one of those. Well, I do. So if you were interested in doing that kind of work, working with a librarian or with an occupational therapist to learn about something related to health, movement, or the arts integrated in elementary curriculum, then let's work on that. There's different ideas, music, drama, dance. Try to think of something that you're interested in exploring that will be worthy of your time for the next 5 to 7 weeks. You do not have to pick a topic that's on this list. So if you feel like you have an idea that's more compelling than anything on here, absolutely develop that into a proposal. The proposal should have the following parts, and this is again right in the syllabus. You want to talk about what you want to learn. So for these parts A, B, C, and D, I just suggest you use these headings. Use these as headings on the written document that you will type up that will be your special interest project proposal. So you want to make sure that when you're describing the topic that you're going to explore, that you don't just use a simple word like bullying. Bullying doesn't really help us understand what it is that you're thinking about bullying. And I give you a better explanation there. So how can teachers help children who are experiencing bullying in the classroom? In this project, I will learn about what bullying looks like in early elementary school and research strategies teachers use to address bullying within their classrooms. So that's more of a better description to help me understand what it is you think you're going to focus on. So not yoga or nutrition, but give me a few sentences to describe what it is that you want to learn about nutrition or recycling or whatever it is. Relevance, after you've described your topic a little bit, then write a little bit about why what you have an interest in exploring is good work for a teacher. So why would this topic be of interest to teachers? And then I want you to describe at least 3 resources. So these could be people, so people that you know or you might not know a children's librarian, but you might just say, I'm going to talk to a children's librarian in this project as one of your resources. So your resources can be people, or they can be books, they can be texts, they can be articles, they can be a lot of things. So come up with at least 3 resources that you think will help you with the project that you have in mind, and list the resource and then describe a little bit about that resource. That's what I mean by annotate. So if you say, well, I want to learn about this way of integrating art into preschool called small parts, and you look online and you find a good website, you could list the website and then describe what you found interesting in that website. You could list, there's a series of books called Small Parts that you might be writing out as a citation, a traditional citation. So I guess what I want you to remember here is that your resources don't have to be just texts. They can also be people or organizations that you might tap into to learn about your particular topic. And then the last part is come up with a couple of ideas for sharing. So let's say you're going to learn about nutrition and you're going to actually go and talk to the folks at Local Matters who do nutrition in services for children in Columbus City schools. And you might say, here's a couple of ways we could share what we've learned. You could either do maybe a demonstration lesson for our class where you do like Local Matters does, and you bring in actual food and have kids tasting things and making simple, healthy snacks. Oh, wouldn't that be fun? That would be fun. Or you might say, I'm going to learn about Local Matters, and then I'm going to create a resource file for teachers. So what are some things that they should know about Local Matters? What does Local Matters do for teachers? What does their curriculum look like? What would we expect if they came to our classroom? So there's just 2 different ideas. One is I would like to try it with my class at Otterbein, show them some things. And the other is sort of, well, I would like to create a list of resources for them. Maybe that would exist on a Google Doc. Maybe it will be a written handout, that kind of thing. So the idea is, in thinking through your project idea with your partners, or if you're working by yourself, that's fine too. That's going to give me a snapshot of what you're thinking at this time. And then when we meet to discuss your plan, we'll fill out all the details. So get as much as you can down on paper. It'll make the next step a lot easier. I would say your special interest project, you really want to pick something that you are interested in learning more about. So spend some time thinking about that. And then also try to think of a presentation format that is useful so it really fits what it is that you learned about, and seems at least manageable. So, you may be interested in how dance can be incorporated into classrooms as brain breaks. And you may have this idea of researching different, maybe like line dances or simple dances that you could teach students, and then you could have dance breaks in your classroom as brain breaks. It might not be manageable to say you're going to create, and teach the choreography to Swan Lake, right? It might not be manageable given the abilities of at least your teacher in this class, but you might be able, it might be much more manageable to say, I'm gonna look into at least 5 different age appropriate dances that I could teach kids in kindergarten through 3rd grade, and I'm going to teach them to my class because I feel comfortable and confident doing that. So make sure that the work is manageable, if not downright enjoyable. So if you love to dance and you think it would be so much fun to teach us to dance, then do that. Do something that makes you get excited. This is just a little example from a great social emotional learning book. If you haven't read this one, you might want to. Amazing Grace. Look at Grace's face. She's doing something that she absolutely loves, and so it makes it easier for her to invest the time and energy in that work. That's what I'm looking for in your special interest project. Then you're going to meet with me in person. If you're working independently, you just sign up for you and I to meet. If you're working with a group, everybody in the group has to meet. So find a time that is common to everyone. You can do these in person in my office in Roush 445. Here we are, voila. Or we can do these online via a Collaborate link, which I would provide to you. So decide what you're going to do and then go on to the class Google Doc. You will see a red table toward the end of our Google Doc where you can sign up for a conference with me. This is a part of the project and it is a requirement. Before you begin executing the project, you have to have your proposal submitted and then we have to talk about it and then you can start the work. So you can see starting October 16th, instead of meeting for class that week, we're using the time to do special interest project conferences. So you can sign up for a time during that session, or you can sign up for some later on Tuesday evening. If we need more slots than what we have right now, I'll go back in and add some, but let's see how it goes. Put the names of the participants. So all the people in the group have to talk to me at the same time. Write something about what your topic is about, so I can just have that frame of reference. And then designate whether you want to meet face-to-face, that'd be in my office, Roush 445, or if you would like to do a technologically supported meeting, which it won't be FaceTime, it'll be Collaborate, but you can just put face-to-face or online, and I'll know how to get you organized. You got to make sure this is just the first step in this special interest project. You can see here on our calendar that you're creating your proposal as your weekly prep. You're going to give that to me over break. I'll read them all. And then the week of the 16th, when we come back from break, we're meeting individually to talk about your special interest project proposal. And then you will have 5 to 7 weeks, depending on what time slot I have you presenting. We're going to use the last 2 classes in our final exam session to do these. So once you propose the project, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, or 6 weeks, or 7 weeks, depending. So here's some advice. Once you get an approved proposal, after we've talked, you want to, at the proposal meeting, I'll tell you when you are assigned. So I'll organize the days sort of by themes. So that's how you'll know when you're going to present. And let's just say you know you're going to present November 27th. Then I would say first, cheat yourself by a week. So tell yourself it's actually due on November 20th, okay? That'll give you just enough time. If you have any unforeseen difficulties, it'll give you time to fix those up, okay? So you know you're going on the 27th. We're pretending it's actually due November 20th. And so that means you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks to get this done, okay? So that's what we call back mapping. You take your presentation date and you count the number of weeks you have to get the work done. All right, so now that you know that you have 5 weeks to do the work, then you're going to give yourself and or your partners manageable next steps to complete each week. So it does make sense to think a little bit about how to do this. So let's say I am going to go to Swaco and see how they do recycling. I'm going to go there myself, do a field trip, and I'm going to get Swaco to let me videotape it so that I can create a virtual field trip for my Otterbein classmates in EDUC 1800. Okay. So this first 2 weeks, I might be trying to, contact Swaco and set up the date of my actual visit. I will also want to let them know that I'm trying to videotape this for a class project. And then I might plan that I'm going to actually go and do the video the week of Halloween, right? So each week I'm giving myself things to do. The following week, I might say I'm going to spend this whole week cutting up the video, putting it into a smaller video so that I can show it to the class. And then I might say, the week of the 20th, I'm actually going to create a little study guide so that as people are watching the video of my virtual field trip, they can take notes. And then I'll be ready to present on the 27th. So break the job down into some manageable steps and map them out across the weeks that you have. Um, I'd say bigger projects are easier to complete in groups because you can maybe divide things up. My partner is going to call Swaco. I'm going to actually take the camera and do the video capture, but then my partner and I are going to work together on editing that video and presenting it to my class. So just some examples of the work that you're moving forward. I would remind you that it is a lot easier to climb this ladder on the left, when you have little small steps than to make big steps. So you don't want one of your week's jobs to be conduct all the research for your special interest project. Break it into small steps. If you're researching the ways that we develop pincher motor grasp for preschoolers, you might say, well, one week I'm just going to talk to the occupational therapist at this preschool that Carrie arranged for me. And then the next day I'm going to follow up the next week I'm going to follow up and find 3 resources that I can use, paper resources. And then the next week I might read those 3 articles. And so you break it into smaller steps, it'll make it a lot more pleasurable work experience. If you're wondering how these are going to be evaluated, we'll create the evaluation criteria in class on our 9th class. But one criteria that is absolute is you must teach us something we don't already know. So even if maybe we know something about nutrition, right? But you should be showing us something about how to teach nutrition, or resources in the community that help us think about how to teach nutrition. Show us something that we don't already know, okay? So that is your special interest project proposal. Type it up. If you're working with partners or a small group, make sure that you put everybody's name who's involved in that proposal on the same document, and then you'll turn that in typed at our next class. Thank you.